Roughly about, say, a month and a half ago, I kind of overcome one of my biggest fears, and that's not singing in public or dancing. Although, on a couple of occasions, I have been known to do that. Anyway, so what was this fear that I overcome? Because I've never really kind of spoken about this fear much, but dogs. For a while, probably in the last 10 or so years, dogs are a big no-no for me. I don't know why. I've got friends who are dog owners, relatives who are dog owners, and dogs, you know, they're one of the few pets that you see everywhere you go. Probably there's a dog on every continent bar Antarctica. Maybe give or take one or two. I don't know if they have some form of experiments down there. But anyway, so I overcome a fear of dogs, and it was a Friday late afternoon, say something like 5 o'clock, 5:30, and I was going off on a walk and I saw a dog without its lead on, and I thought, oh, well, you know, the owner can't be too far away, because where I go walking, you do see lots of dogs off their leads, owner's not too far away. It's not as if there's a big traffic of people and cyclists around there. You know, there are lots of places where I live in Norfolk where you can, if you have a dog, take it off the lead and it's not really going to cause much trouble. Anyway, so I saw this dog going off at the start of my walk, and on the way back I saw the same dog, and this time it was following an older gentleman who was walking his dog, which I'm not an expert on dogs, but it was a terrier, I know that. And I said to him, was that your dog that was here about half an hour, 40 minutes ago? Because it didn't have its lead, and despite what you have just said a couple of minutes ago, there are young children about on Friday, so they're coming back from school. I was going to say, you know, try and be a bit more careful in the future. And the guy goes, nah, it's not my dog. And I said stupidly, well, whose is it? As if he would know. And he said, well, it's not mine, but it has got a collar on it. I'll bend down, because the guy must have been 5'5", so it's easier for him to bend down than me, despite the fact he was old, maybe in his early 70s. So read out the number, and I called the dog's owner. The dog was called Jethro. See the picture, I can't even tell you what breed of dog that is, but you know, it wasn't one of the ferocious looking ones. So I called up the dog's owner, and I said, hello. She goes, hello. And I said, well, you may or not know this, but your dog's lost, and I've just found him down the path where I'm walking. She goes, really? He's at home? I said, he's not home. And it turned out that the woman's son, eldest son, was ill and had stayed off school. They'd had a delivery or something, according to her. I had no reason to disbelieve her, and obviously they'd had a delivery and the dog had got out somehow. Obviously the kid hadn't shut the door. So what happened was, she goes, well, I'll get my husband to call you back in, say, 10 or 15 minutes. He's just picking up the kids from school, or just on the way back from picking them up. So I was now in charge of the dog, and said goodbye to the old chap and his dog. As I said, the dog didn't have a lead, so it was a bit nervous. You know, you don't have to be an expert on dogs to know, but if you've got a pet and it's lost, it's going to act a bit nervously, and the dog was yelping. Wasn't barking, but yelping, and was peeing everywhere because it was nervous. But other than that, absolutely fine. No other health problems that I could see. It wasn't in any physical pain. So I looked after it, and about 20 minutes later, wasn't the 10 as the woman had said, or when I spoke to the husband that he'd come and pick it up, about 20 minutes later, after maintaining where the dog was roughly, because as I said, it wasn't the easiest dog to control, and aside from telling it basic commands such as sit Jethro and stay Jethro, like a dog would listen to me, the dog was just about doing what I asked it to do. And it was actually quite funny. Whilst I was waiting, there was a chap who had come back from walking his dog, and he says, why are you standing by my car with your dog? I said, for starters, it's not my dog, and I'm just trying to look after it because it's lost. And he actually offered us a dog biscuit to kind of calm the dog down. Apparently, according to him, whatever the dog, I think he had a Labrador, that said it calmed him down sometimes. Don't know if it's true or not, don't know whether he was lying. But anyway, the dog didn't eat the biscuit, didn't even want it. So I kept the dog company, and say 20 minutes after the chap had called me from picking up his kids, he came and picked up the dog. Dog recognised him instantly, so there was no chance in a million years that for some reason that somebody else had intercepted this call or recognised that I've got a lost dog. It was definitely the person. Dog recognised him, he recognised the dog, kids recognised the dog, and that was it really. So you know, I've always been kind of wary of dogs. Again, going back years, We've had, as a family, maybe, off the top of my head, 6 or 7 cats. I think it's 6 cats. So we're a cat family. So obviously you learn from friends and relatives, etc., how to deal with dogs. You know, I'm more of a cat person, so I've always been a bit wary of dogs. And one of the incidents I can remember, it must have been 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was at secondary school, and at the time I used to deliver leaflets from my uncle's estate agency, who I later went on to do bits of admin work for, and it was in Newbury Park, and which is in Ilford, for those of you who don't know. And where I was delivering leaflets on a main road, which just so happened to go past an entrance of a park. And of the leaflets I had left, maybe I had 70% left. I'd only been actually delivering leaflets on that day. It was a Friday after school, I can remember. So I'd walk down from Barkingside to pick them up where my uncle's office was, down Leigh Street in Ilford. Walked maybe 20 minutes to Newbury Park. So this must have been about 3:30 on a Friday. And what happened was, as I was walking past the entrance of the park, this massive German Shepherd off the lead, I still don't know to this day where the owner was, ran out of the park towards me and was barking non-stop, very aggressively. I'm not slating German Shepherds. My uncle's had a couple of them. They're lovely dogs. I think they have a history of arthritis in their legs. I don't know whether a lot of big dogs have that. But anyway, this dog was very angry. Probably looking back at it, it was lost. It was off the lead. Probably didn't know what it was doing. So God knows what kind of mental state it was in. So anyway, it's jumped up at me on its front legs, and I literally screamed like a little girl, and dropped all the leaflets that I had in my hand, and the majority that I had in the rucksack that I had, all over the floor at the entrance of the park. And I legged it about 20-30 yards up the road to within close proximity to people walking. And I looked back and the dog had obviously gone, so I went back and picked up all the leaflets, and God knows what people driving by and people walking past thought, what's this kid doing in his school uniform picking 70, 80 worths of leaflets? You know, a bit odd. What's going on there? That was kind of where my fear of dogs kind of started. So in the past, despite my old neighbour back in Barkingside having a lovely little dog called Baby, and I can't even tell you what kind of dog, but it was very small, like a Chihuahua. It might have even been one of them. You know, despite the fact that friends of mine have had dogs, I've always, since that day, I guess, been a bit wary of them. And, if I've been walking somewhere and I've seen a dog, I've crossed the road, or I've tried to, go back on myself, so to speak, so I can get away from it and its owner. When you live in the countryside, you do see more people walking about, and there's probably more often than not you will bump into somebody walking a dog, because there are lovely fields and walks and paths out here. And I can remember I think it was in the first week that we'd moved up here, I bumped into someone walking a dog. The chap, as he walked past, said, "You're not doing yourself any favours there, son. You're acting very nervously around my dog." And it wouldn't, I'm not saying it's happened to you, but dogs, they see people nervous and, aren't acting normally, they're probably prone to scare you a bit more and bark at you. So I've kind of kept that advice in mind. So anyway, as a result of looking after this dog, I've kind of overcome my fear of looking after dogs. When I see a person with a dog now, I'm not just going to look away from them. It's not that I'm rude like that, but I don't. In the past, I wouldn't really go and approach someone walking a dog. And I know they say that you're not meant to put your hand out and give the dog some fuss unless the owner tells you to. And I know that they say that if you do see a dog, even when it's an owner, don't put your arms out, because even if they're not aggressive, it gives them something to take a nibble at. So, when I see a person walking a dog now, I'm not so much as scared. So there's a chap that I see quite regularly on the weekends walking his dog, and it's a little dog, but I think it's a Scottish Terrier. The little white dogs, you see them on the... I can't think. There was a form of dog food. Had this particular dog on it. I can't even remember what it is, which is a bit weird why I'm even speaking about it. I don't feel scared of it, and it's an incredible thing to say, but for a while I guess I was a bit silly, this fear of dogs, and let it get on too much, and I'm not scared of them anymore. So looking back at it, it was quite a good thing to do, and looking after this dog that I could have probably ended up walking back home and eating my dinner. Actually it was quite a fun way to spend half an hour looking after this dog. It did give me a chance to listen to some music that I recently downloaded, including quite a good cricket podcast. So that's this week's episode. Kind of speaking about recent experience with dogs. Hopefully next week I might actually speak about some volunteering experiences. I know I've spoken about my Paralympic experiences, but there's something else I'd like to mention. That's over now. Goodbye.